Welcome to the Mormon News Roundup, your go-to source for the latest headlines and critical analysis on all things LDS.
Breaking news.
Join D-Vase,
Mormon News Roundup.
That's talent on loan from Kolob, every Sunday and Monday night.
We will uncover the truth behind the news that matters most to the Mormon community.
Mormon News Roundup time. It's May 1st, 2025. It's episode 164. I am your humble host, D-Vase. Yes, that's talent on loan from Kolob. So glad you decided to join us today. Let's see what we've got on tap for today's agenda. Jordan Peterson mixes it up on Jubilee with a debate, and we're going to talk about that for just a moment. There's the Mormon garment girlies that are always percolating. What do they have to say? Well, we're going to find out. Lori Vallow, the doomsday mom, ex-Mormon psychopath. What's going on with her new trial? We'll give you some Fairview, Texas temple updates, the Mormon Church's most controversial temple. Let's check out the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is also absolutely huge in the news. Goodbye Kulch, the famous ex-Mormon podcaster, has left the microphone. We're going to give you some insights there, including some Mormon infighting among the LDS podcasters. This is going to be a big episode. Let's kick it off here with Danny exposing Jordan Peterson. I certainly hope that these clips will not be copyright struck, which, by the way, I just want to make sure that you're aware that the full episodes of the Mormon News Roundup, you can find them on our Patreon site, in which none of the copyrights really matter. So if something gets clipped out of here later, go on our Patreon and you'll be able to watch them in full. Let's see how Danny is going to expose Jordan Peterson in these debates real quick.
Danny Philtalk might have just pulled off the most savage public takedown of Jordan Peterson. In the newest episode with Jubilee, Jordan Peterson takes on 20 atheists. And when Jordan was being asked about being a Christian, he wouldn't even acknowledge it, despite the name of the show being One Christian Against 20 Atheists. Eventually, Jordan Peterson throws him off the stage. But the reactions from the crowd pretty much says it all.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Just hours after releasing the video, they changed the name from One Christian versus 20 Atheists to Jordan Peterson versus 20 Atheists. This is probably because Jordan was told he would have creative control over the final product, so it was speculated that Danny's interaction would be cut out. But not only did it make it, the intro to the video is a highlight reel, and it's only Jordan and Danny.
That is absolutely hilarious. Danny absolutely owns Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson doesn't even know if he's a Christian. How embarrassing if you cannot even answer that basic question. I certainly hope this doesn't get copyright struck. Let's just look at that just in greater detail, just a little bit here. I have the full clip here of Danny versus Jordan queued up for you. Let's check it out.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
How do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either
it,
you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell
could be-
you.
You don't have to.
You don't have to tell us whether you're a Christian or not. What an absolute clown. Either you're a Christian or you're not, Jordan. Get a clue.
Tell me. I was under the impression
private.
I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Yeah, either you're a Christian or you're not. Jordan Peterson debates are absolutely, that's clown central. Jordan Peterson, shame on you. And they went back and changed the title to, instead of 20 atheists debate one Christian, to 20 atheists debate Jordan Peterson. What an absolute crap show that certainly was. Nemo the Mormon, let's go on to a couple more news programs. He's discovered something very interesting here about lost Mormon Bibles and a new Mormon Bible. Let's see what's going on with Nemo.
Mormon Church used anything other than the King James Version of the Bible in English. Well, Dieter Uchtdorf used the new King James Version of the Bible in General Conference just this year.
Love one another, Jesus said. By this, all will know that you are my disciples.
I thought it didn't sound right at the time, and now I've had a chance to go and check the footnotes. Sure enough, there it is. Is this the first time an apostle has quoted scripture not as found in the church's standard works? Well, apparently not. We'll come to that in a full video, but for now, the question is this significant? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Very interesting. I keep brought up this point a number of times, and Nemo certainly has as well. You claim to have the revelatory power on earth, yet you continue to use a completely outdated version of the scriptures. King James Version is really a trash version, and there's far better translations. We have better manuscript data. We have better scholarship now. Why don't the brethren get together and pray about what was originally written on these manuscripts and give us an updated version? What are they afraid of? It's because they have no power or they refuse to engage with it. So yes, I think it'd be better if anyone used the better version of the Bible other than the King James Version. Now, generally unquotable over there. If you're not following Megan, you're certainly missing out. I haven't covered any of her stuff here in actually over a month here, but she's going to talk about Elder Murray, who is a famous Mormon. He got out of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She's going to bring us the scoop. This is about a 4-minute clip.
Now let's talk about missionary work and Elder Murray. First, we will go to a Deseret News article from 2014 that says, Preach My Gospel was published in 2004 as the standard curriculum for anyone associated with missionary work in the LDS Church. Several church leaders have said it was inspired. In his April 2005 General Conference address, Elder Richard G. Scott of the Quorum of the 12 said that while former missionary materials were effective for their time, Preach My Gospel was designed to help missionaries teach the gospel in their own words as guided by the Holy Ghost. Missionaries throughout the world now get into their minds and hearts the messages of the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ, Elder Scott said in 2005. These lessons are then given in their own words as guided by the Spirit. This focus has dramatically improved the effectiveness of missionaries that use it. Following the release of Preach My Gospel, church leaders and the missionary department closely observed its implementation with high expectations. But, said Stephen B. Allen, an Area 70 and the managing director of the LDS Church's missionary department, it became clear that the missionaries needed help utilizing the principles of the new system. So my question is, was it inspired? To me, it sounds like it was just an idea, and it really didn't work as well as they'd hoped. The article goes on to say, an idea emerged. Perhaps it would make a difference if missionaries could see an effective demonstration of methods and fundamentals. When popular reality television shows such as Survivor, The Apprentice, and The Amazing Race were considered, the solution became evident, Allen said. Nothing like reality TV to spur a little visit from the Holy Ghost. The article goes on to say, let's do a reality TV show. Let's go film missionaries doing this, said Allen, who has a background as an executive TV producer. So many of our youth today are visual learners. We can train missionaries, film them, and use it as a training tool.
Right.
This reality TV show became known as The District, and the first set of DVDs debuted in 2007. Now let's watch a small portion of the second season, which was filmed in San Diego.
I told my parents that I wanted to be a blue chair when I grew up. I was just kind of a strange child, but looking back, it just makes me kind of smile. In my mind, when I wanted to be a blue chair, I think I was thinking of like a nice recliner chair, like cushy, you just kind of can sit back. I didn't want to be a red chair though, but blue.
He has a strong desire to serve the Lord, and he's just really bold with everyone, and I love that about him.
Elder Tuitu is my favorite companion. I feel like I can be myself around him. I feel like I can talk to him about what's important to me and get feedback how I can be better from him.
He doesn't have as much success as he deserves on his mission.
I'm just kind of confused. It feels like something may have happened. Everything that's been going on with me and Elder Tuitu in the past few months has been hard for me. With us lately, when we felt like we've been becoming the best missionaries that we've been on our missions, at the same time, the baptisms stopped.
He does not want to meet with us anymore?
He said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to attend anymore.
And for more information about Elder Murray, let's go to the Ex-Mormon subreddit.
Aha.
It says, hey everyone, I'm Alex Murray, aka Elder Murray, aka the Blue Chair Missionary from the District 2 missionary videos.
Yep.
Just putting myself out there as one more person who was fully in the church, video footage to prove it, and is now out. I was born and raised in the church, held multiple leadership callings, and served faithfully for years. My shelf broke while I was serving as a counselor in a bishopric and as Elders Quorum president right after. Since then, it's been a difficult journey that my wife and I have navigated together. One filled with soul-searching fear, grief, therapy, and ultimately liberation. I want to be clear about my intention in doing this. I know how isolating and painful it can be when your trust in the church begins to crack. I felt broken and alone for a long time. I'm here to say you're not alone. I battled myself for a long time about whether I should put myself out there, but if sharing my story can help even one person feel seen or supported, it's worth it to me. Because of this, I plan to have my responses focused on my own experiences and not on the church's truth claims, since there are so many other resources that cover those. Ask me anything. If you want to see the questions asked and the way Alex answered them, I will leave the link in the show notes. Elder Murray is definitely fully out of the church, though.
Thanks for that, bringing that to our attention, Megan. Generally Unquotable is a great channel. You should go over there and subscribe to it. We have had Megan on the Mormon News Roundup once upon a time, the only guest appearance that she's ever had on any program ever. So proud to be the first person to maybe bring her to a slightly wider audience, but now she's bearing me with a number of views, but good for her. But Elder Murray, yeah, we've had a number of people who have appeared in church movies, church productions. Don't forget that this channel also has the Mormon movie reviews. I have more Mormon movie than reviews than anyone else on this planet. We get new Mormon movies every single Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've had a number of people in different church productions, whether it's Elder Murray or whether even the Temple Endowment films. We've had a number of characters who have been portrayed inside of Mormonism's most holy film, Leave the Church. What I suggest that the LDS Church does in the future for its productions is that they use AI, because the great thing about AI, when you use those type of characters, is that those people never come to realize that the Mormon Church's foundations are completely bankrupt. That's my humble recommendation. I've made that recommendation to the church in the past. Now, following up here, BYU's football team is in the middle of a giant scandal. The quarterback has been accused civilly of SA. He has a lawsuit that is pending against him.
But it's a private matter that's going to be handled privately. We just found out about it when others found out about it. And so we want to respect the privacy of Jake. We want to respect the privacy of the university. We want to respect the privacy of those involved as the matter gets worked out, and have full confidence that the right thing will happen moving forward.
No, it's not a private matter at all. This lawsuit is a matter of public record. No, it's not private. That's why you're giving a public statement on it, because it's not private. So I don't know what you're thinking. Your responsibility here, Mr. Athletic Director, is to make sure that justice is served, not to protect your student athlete. Okay, I'm disappointed by this particular sentiment here. We will be following this lawsuit as it goes forward. The New York Times has weighed in once again on Mormonism, and whenever they have a major spread, it definitely causes a lot of eyeballs to be seen here. And this is what the New York Times is saying about Mormonism, this sacred undergarment that has Mormon women buzzing. And they're speaking in particular to the so-called tank top garments that are now available in certain locations, especially for Mormon women, or the ones with the capless sleeves. And certainly there's a number of influencers, as we've covered on the Mormon News Roundup, who continue to talk about these new garments. These are a major change from times past. And we see some of these garments for cool girl vibes, garment-friendly dresses. I found my new favorite dress, or new garment top approved. And one influencer in particular says, I want them now. I will get them at all costs, says one influencer based in Hawaii. These are hot items, folks, major hot items. I got a couple of takes here from this particular New York Times article. First, from Jasmine, my favorite page shill for the Mormon Church. She's going to weigh in on why some Mormon women are obsessed with
the New York Times just
some Mormon women are obsessed with these garments.
Published this article, and I don't think most people realize the watershed moment this potentially represents for Latter-day Saint women online and for President Kimball's prophecy of 1979.
A prophecy about garments? Oh, I can't wait.
So this article covers Latter-day Saint influencer reactions to the new tank top garment style. And the church is no stranger to being in the news, but what's different here, I think, is the source of the story. When the church makes major headlines, the narrative is so often driven by the church's critics and ex-Mormon creators.
Oh, it's the persecution complex.
And yes, this story still includes critical voices, but from what I can tell, this story is more driven by an interest in the honest reactions of active, believing, garment-wearing Latter-day Saint women. I've been in this online space for a decade, and for the first time maybe ever, I feel like covenant-keeping Latter-day Saint creators are ideally positioned to have the kind of momentum in media we've never seen before. Latter-day Saints stories are interesting and compelling, no extra scandal or controversy needed. And so many Latter-day Saints are now coming out of the woodwork to start their own podcast or social media account. And we need more. Right now,
sorry.
some of the conversations might be about frustrations with sacred clothing. But imagine if we could share the remarkable parts of our faith like President Kimball envisioned in some of these mainstream venues. In 1979, President Kimball declared that much of the major growth that is coming to the church in the last days will come because the women of the church are seen as distinct and different in happy ways from the women of the world.
That's a prophecy. That's your prophecy, that some people join the church because
So
that's your prophecy. Some people will join the church because of women. That's what constitutes a Mormon prophecy. Give me a fetching break.
If you are wondering if you should get on social media, consider this your push. And if you're already posting and wondering if you're making a difference, yes, you are.
That is very validating for me. Thank you, Jasmine. I am on social media. You can follow the Mormon News Roundup. We are on X. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are absolutely everywhere. And yes, we are making a difference. In fact, we just crossed 5,000 subscribers. So that means a lot to me. I always appreciate Jasmine's incredibly inspired insights into the situation. Let's get one more from the Mormon Garment Girlies out here. We have Girls Camp Podcast here. She's going to talk about that article from the New York Times as well. Hope I captured how a lot of us post-Mormons are feeling about the new tank top garments. We get to care because we lived it, and now we're wondering what it was all even for. Let's see what Haley's got to say here. Girls Camp Podcast, one of my favorite accounts out there.
Quoted today in the New York Times about the new Mormon tank top garments. Look at this quote that they pulled. It creates a feeling of, what was all of that for?
Right.
Not to toot my own horn because the journalist pulled that quote out of my endless ramblings, but doesn't that sum it up pretty damn well? What was all of that for? The guilt and the shame over showing our shoulders, the chastisement, the discipline, the discomfort, the heat, the difficulty finding clothing that could accommodate the garments, the difficulty finding a wedding dress for a summer wedding that would cover a cap sleeve.
Right.
Speaking from experience. What was all of that for if seemingly overnight the Mormon church could just poof, change their minds, and suddenly shoulders are okay? I don't know what all of that was for, but I am glad that that sentiment, at least, is now captured forever in the New York Times, baby. I was
Very nice statement there. Perhaps I can answer it. It was all absolutely for nothing. It was also that men could control women's bodies. It was all for purity culture. It was all for slut shaming. And it was all so that creepy old guys could decide what kind of underwear women could wear. That's what apparently it was all for. And now that can just be wiped away. It could be waved away. You know, I released a video here on the Mormon News Roundup about Lindsay Hansen Park weighing in on this garment change, which I think is one of the most heartfelt and just gut-wrenching videos that I've ever put together. It's about 4 minutes long. If you look it up on the Mormon News Roundup, you can see what she said about this entire debacle. But nice job, Haley, on your sentiments there. Yes, this is still a big news article out there. There's no doubt about that. Changing gears, Fairview residents challenge the Mormon temple, which was initially approved here. Claim protests were diluted. An attorney says the Fairview approved a temple plan by a 5-2 vote, but scrutiny has arisen over procedural protest zone issues. This is a big consternation. This is the Mormon Church's most controversial temple is in Fairview, Texas. The temple's proposed spire height was reduced from 174 to 120 feet before the town's approval. However, attorney Mark Johnson, representing nearby homeowners, argues the vote should have required a supermajority, which it did not get. That's the problem here. Is this going to continue to go through legislation? Probably. This is after more than a year of deliberation. That this is near McKinney, Texas, also known as the town of Fairview, approved plans for the temple. It's under scrutiny. This is a 100% procedural problem here, says the attorneys. Let's play this clip for you. That you can only really find these types of clips here on the Mormon News Roundup. I'm the only one playing this type of content, by the way.
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints recently won approval after a year of debate and dissension. But now some residents claim the council didn't follow its own rules when it allowed construction to proceed. And as Jobin Punnekar reports, this issue could be headed to court.
It took more than a year for the town of Fairview to approve plans for a temple here.
It's not about the church.
Now there's an appeal to that decision.
This is 100% procedural. Assume that
Attorney Mark Johnson,
this is north,
represents families who live in what they call the protest zone.
within 200 feet around the affected property.
The town, in a 5-2 vote, agreed to accept the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' plans for a temple with a spire height of 120 feet.
Now, just real quick, jumping in, you can see how close this temple is in this residential neighborhood to other properties. This is a giant building, and it's going to be within 200 feet of a number of residents here. That's the problem when you try to cram these into residential areas. I mean, it really causes a lot of consternation to the residents.
Down from 174 feet first proposed. But Johnson tells us the town broke its own code, and what should have required a supermajority decision passed with a simple majority.
What you're saying is the people you represent are underrepresented in this.
Exactly. You can't include people who would never have the right to protest in the first place.
Right. The rule is 20% or more in that zone who protest can trigger a supermajority vote. But Mark says this protest zone also included the city of Allen. But nobody in Allen was given notice because they're not on Fairview tax rolls.
You, in fact, diluted the authority of these property owners to challenge this.
Mayor John Hubbard is with the town of Fairview. He's been on the job for 2 weeks.
The appeal is currently under review by the town's legal counsel.
John says he trusts the process and expects it to be transparent.
I think the town wants to get finality. Whatever happens, I think it's good to get that. Then we can heal from this process.
Is this a miscalculation or the appellant's misapplication of the rules? Either way, the debate over the temple continues.
5-2 doesn't do it. The church's application wasn't approved. It was denied.
The families have first filed an appeal to the Fairview Board. We're told they're prepared to take this to court. In Fairview, I'm Jobin Puniker.
Very nice. Wait a minute.
Now, we did reach out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but they told us no comment, saying at this point, it's an internal matter between residents and the town.
And no comment. Wow. Way to light your candle and put it on the top of the hill so that everyone can see it. No comment. Where are the senior church leaders that are here to use priesthood power to let us know what's going on? They are AWOL, as they almost always are here. And it looks like, you know, can you imagine how much money that this town already has had to spend legally for all of these votes? I bet it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, might even be millions of dollars. The church continues to be the bully. But yet you see the residents there, as we saw in the sign, that they said no religious bullying, and that's literally what the lawyer here said. For those people who are concerned about it, they said this has nothing to do with religion whatsoever. They would probably have the same objections for anyone who was not following the law. Yeah, big problems out there in Fairview. And of course, the #1 temple buster in chief here, Rebecca Biblioteca of the Mormonish podcast, she's going to talk about the breaking news out of the Fairview, Texas temple. The town votes to assign a Board of Adjustments legal counsel here. The town has a serious concern about the town's Board of Adjustments that may lack the authority or jurisdiction to hear pending appeal over the issues concerning the town council's vote. This is getting really complicated.
Some breaking news out of Fairview, Texas. The town council has voted in open session how to proceed forward with the appeal launched by the Fairview United residents challenging the validity of the vote that passed the LDS temple. In the meeting, they said the motion was the town council has a serious concern that the town's Board of Adjustment may lack the authority or jurisdiction to hear the pending appeal over the issues concerning the town council's vote on the LDS CUP zoning ordinance, and move that the council take steps to engage special counsel to represent and advise the Board of Adjustment. And this was entered into the record. The church's representative actually attended the meeting. So they appealed, the Fairview residents appealed to the Board of Adjustments, and now the town says they need legal help to figure out what the heck's going on.
Wow, thanks for bringing that to us, Rebecca. Rebecca is certainly getting better at those shorts, no doubt about it. She's almost as good as the shorts that I put out here on the Mormon News Roundup. Nobody beats the number of shorts, by the way, that come through this channel. I release new shorts every single day at midnight and at noon. You will get 2 shorts that you can set your calendar to, set your clock to. I haven't missed a video day here on an upload of the Mormon News Roundup in over 500 days. You will get new content absolutely every single day here. But yes, this is getting very, very messy. A lot of bad feelings, a lot of bad press. The Mormon Church does not seem to care. Speaking of temples, this is your other temple update. The Salt Lake Temple, which has gone through a 6-year renovation. Over $1 billion poured into the Mormonism's most holy site here. They are nearing completion of this massive renovation. And someone on Ex-Mormon Reddit joked that workers are carefully moving the golden calf into position during the LDS temple renovation. This is a real picture here of those workers doing the Lord's work, tongue-in-cheek, the Lord's work. These are the oxen, probably destined for the, my understanding is there's going to be multiple baptismal fonts in the new Salt Lake temple. Yeah, it kind of looks like a golden calf though, doesn't it? That's a little bit of a joke. The church has also dropped new gospel topics essays onto its site here. These are called Finding Answers to Questions on Church Finances, Temples, and Peacemaking. So the gospel topics essays is when the Mormon Church attempts to answer its most controversial aspects of either its theology, of its faith, of its history. It attempts to do that. These are the latest additions here. Of course, the church has had multiple gospel topics essays that they released starting in late 2013, 2014, including Joseph Smith's First Vision, Race in the Church, Women's Service, Religion and Science, etc., etc. They dropped a couple more of those essays. I find these the new crop of essays to be spectacularly a waste of time. They don't actually get into the answers that people actually have. The original crop of gospel topics essays were at least a better try. I'm not a big fan of these new ones, but Jasmine is going to tell us how these new gospel topics essays really are a blessing from on high.
The church has been quietly dropping the most significant articles on Tough Topics for months now, and hardly anyone has noticed. The church has been releasing a bunch of new gospel topics articles on their website and on the app over the last year.
The reason that nobody ever notices is because the Mormon church leaders don't talk about these themselves. They just release them quietly with no fanfare, and they're multiple clicks deep on the website. It's almost like they're embarrassed about them.
The controversial articles they dropped this week are on church finance, temple ordinances in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Religion versus Violence, which became particularly relevant when American Primeval came out this year on Netflix. Not only do these honestly confront a lot of the challenging questions people have about our history and our faith, but perhaps even more importantly, they have several articles on how to grapple with your faith.
Honestly, grapple with these issues? No, Jasmine, this is pure PR propaganda spin. There's nothing honest about these essays at all.
These are really well-done articles that provide a healthy and responsible framework for asking difficult questions of our history, how to reconcile challenging information with your testimony of the gospel, and a lot more. You can find them in the Gospel Library app under Topics and Questions.
These are ways for people to try to resolve the cognitive dissonance that comes from the church's problems, contradictions, its lies about church history, its omissions, and its abjectly illegal behavior, for instance, in its financial division from being fined by the SEC. This is a way for you to bolster your quote-unquote testimony by burying your head in the sand. It's not a way to honestly engage with the biggest problems of Mormonism. If you want to try to engage with the more challenging questions of Mormonism, I would suggest reading the CES letter. Now, Lori Vallow, the Doomsday Mom here, she's back in the news once again. Her second trial here is taking place in Arizona here. This is absolutely unbelievable here. She's representing herself. Judge Judge Justin Bereski has denied her request for a new trial. Daybell has made allegations of juror misconduct. They're selecting the juries for this right now as we speak. A discovery violation and prosecutorial misconduct. Yep, she lost literally every motion pretty much that she's ever filed. She's way out of her depth here. She's also claimed statements weren't allowed in that should have been, and said Bereski showed a lack of impartiality. I have been very impressed by this particular judge here myself. I think he's doing a bang-up job, and I'm pretty tough on our judges, by the way. The judge responded to each point saying Daybell did not produce evidence of her allegations, and because of that, there will not be another trial in regards to Charles Vallow's murder. This is her ex-husband. I believe it is her fourth husband that she is now on trial for after she killed her, unalived her two children, Tylee and JJ. Jury selection is taking place right now as we speak here. Let's get a reaction here. This is where Lori is arguing with the judge over absolutely everything. This is an absolute crap show down there in Arizona.
You said you were going to check into that. Is that something that you did check into and there's no more available headsets?
They can't do more than 5 on that particular system or network that they have. I need my court reporter to have one. The state's only getting 1. I get 1, so that leaves 2 for you. Whoever you want to have besides yourself, you can choose one of your advisory council or your paralegal.
But you're forcing me to choose between the people that are helping me?
Sure.
Okay.
Technically, I don't know I even have to do that because you are acting as your own attorney. You're expected to proceed as your own attorney. They don't have an affirmative duty to even give you advice under the case law for being an advisory council. The fact that they do is probably helpful to you, Okay, but you chose to represent yourself. It means you are supposed to act as your own lawyer.
I love this judge here. Now, prosecuting Lori Vallow costs $3 million, but seeing her not get her way is absolutely priceless. This is from the comments section. And the judge here, you chose to represent yourself. That means you're supposed to act as your own lawyer. That means you're supposed to have a clue, Lori. I just love this judge. I do too. I think this judge is great. This judge has the patience of a saint. She's a snarky little bee. Ouch, that hurts. And this judge is doing a fantastic job. I agree. I really like this judge. He is absolutely a credit to his profession, and good on him. Now, a couple of other items here. We're going to try to get these episodes down to 1 hour. You know, the USAID has been seriously cut by Doge, Elon Musk, the Trump administration, millions of people going hungry across the world here. This is really, really sad here. I saw this post here by Sam Brunson, who, if you don't follow him, I believe he is on By Common Consent on his particular, that's where he blogs over there. I believe that is the correct answer here. He said that the Mormon Church should replace some of those USAID cuts. In other words, because the U.S. government is not providing those that food, that water, those supplies to the poorest people in the world, the Mormon Church should step up and try to replace those with billions of dollars of aid. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm a huge fan of Sam Brunson and all of his blogging over there. I have had a chance to have some interactions with him over on X, by the way, where he has mostly handed me my lunch and educated me, but I don't mind to be educated by people who are really smart, and Sam Brunson is certainly one of them. Now, some of the biggest news articles for this week continues to be, folks, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives continues to be the juggernaut in the news this week. The LDS Church headquarters, this is from Mormon Stories over there on Facebook here. They said the LDS Church headquarters can't be happy about the fact that this week's most streamed shows, and this is according to Boardroom here, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is the most streamed show across all social media platforms here. It grabbed serious attention last week, deep dive into the inside foundations of Mormon women and their struggles with the church here. Over 1 billion hours, no, excuse me, 1 billion minutes of streamed content here. This continues to be a huge juggernaut, which is why it consumes so much media attention. Trust me, folks, nobody is following the Fairview, Texas temple updates. Nobody's following the Salt Lake temple renovations. Nobody's following, quite frankly, the BYU football scandal of the civil lawsuit of his essay allegations. People are following the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. There's absolutely no doubt about that across the general media here. Here's one of my favorite satire accounts here, Garby Stirty here. He shows the parody of what the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives really is all about here. One of my favorite accounts out there. Garby is one of my favorite. He's a hidden gem out there on TikTok there. He's satiring these ridiculous promo videos here with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I like how he ends up, face down in the lake at the end. That is absolutely hilarious. I'm putting together a compilation of some of his best TikToks on part of my series here, This Week in Ex-Mormonism. That series continues to roll on with some of the best ex-Mormon content creators out there. I just released an episode on Jordan and McKay, your favorite apostates, that you can find on this channel. I have a lot of great parts of This Week in Ex-Mormonism. If you're not following that series on this channel, you are certainly missing out. More reactions, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. This is how you can get the Mom Talk waves inspired by the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's not just that the show is influencing, especially how women even style their hair. I mean, this show is having huge ramifications all over the place. In celebration of season 2 of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Hulu and Drybar are teaming up to give fans the chance to rock the iconic Mom Talk Waves hairstyle themselves. Well, my hair could use a serious upgrade. I've seen that in the comments section a number of times by some people. Maybe I need to try this. I'm not sure here. Mom Talk Waves are kind of a phenomenon, says Stacy Reed, director of new shop openings here. Let's see what you need to do to look like the Mom Talk movement.
Here it goes. Oh my God, wow. Mom Talk Waves are kind of a phenomenon, right?
You know the look that we're going for today?
I'm here for the Mom Talk Waves.
Nice. My name is Stacy Reed, and I am here today at the Drybar Thompson Central Park. At Drybar, we focus on one thing, and that is giving a great blowout.
I feel like this is a real article. I feel like I'm on a hidden camera show, but this is real life, folks. This is what people spend their money and their time on, is trying to get the mom talk look.
So Drybar has partnered with Hulu to celebrate the second season of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The collaboration is coming to life in 2 ways. Hulu's Secret Shop, which is a collection of special offers, including 30% off select sets from Drybar, and offering blowout lovers the chance to get Mom Talk Waves inspired by the show for a limited time only at Drybar shops. Mom Talk Waves are basically a spin off of our signature style.
Whoa, wow, what a makeover.
So the little bit of the spin on this is the products that we're utilizing. So depending on the style that you're looking for, we would use what we call cocktailing to make sure that we can get you that signature look, but with that Mom Talk Wave vibe.
Wow. Wait, the volume is crazy.
Yeah. I hope that the women that come in to get their Mom Talk waves just feel fun and flirty like the girls on the show. You know, I think that they're all about empowering women and celebrating women. And when you leave a Drybar, I want you to feel the same exact way.
I feel like I'm ready to be on the show.
However much it is that they're spending for these Drybar, for these makeovers, for these blowout hairdos, it's not enough. I'm willing to pay any price necessary to get that same look. I definitely need a little bit more volume on my hair. I'm going to take huge issue, by the way, with the Drybar, whoever that stylist is or the owner of the company. She says that the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives women are about empowering women. Then why do they crap on each other on the show literally 24/7? Why are they so gosh darn nasty to one another if they're about women's empowerment? Makes absolutely no sense to my Y chromosome brain. I guess this is why I've got my moniker down here on the left-hand side here of the show. I don't get it. A couple more reactions. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Renee Steelman, she became visible. One of my favorite ex-Mormon content creators, a diamond in the rough. If you're not following her on TikTok, and she also has a YouTube channel, you're really missing out. She says that the silliness continues on reality TV. I am with you, Renee. What's your journey when you decide to become visible? Let's see here. Is it bettering yourself, displaying by mean girls behavior? Good question, Renee here. Secret Lives, she says not so much. It's not really secret. Let's see what Renee's got going on here.
Okay. As Joan Rivers used to say, we need to talk. Okay.
Yeah.
This, as many of you may know, is Jen Affleck. Not the other one, but this one on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched all of the episodes because it's very much the reason why I stopped watching The Housewives of New York. I watched it in the very beginning for like the first 11 years, and then it turned into a screaming match, and it turned into such a cat fight that there was nothing going on. It was just so disturbing to watch. So I've only gotten through, 2 or 3 episodes. But the last episode I saw was Jen crying because she's found out that she's pregnant. She doesn't know if she wants to stay married, but that wasn't the most disturbing part. The most disturbing part was her crying because her life is in such turmoil. And the only thing she can think of is, it's because I have left God.
That is really sad, though. Honestly, that is absolutely... There's a lot of superficiality with the show, but there's also a lot of heartache that goes along with it. That's horrible.
And God has left me, and I don't feel his presence anymore.
That's very, very sad.
So she's under the impression that the reason why her life is so effed up is because she has stopped praying and reading her scriptures. Okay, let's talk about this. First of all, I like this filter way better. This is so much better. Speaking of Secret Wives of Mormon Lives, I love the filters that just pop up on TikTok, regardless. Anyway, what I see in this 24-year-old, I think she said she was 24. She may be 26. She's pregnant with her 3rd child. These girls are so delusional about what progressivism is.
That's what I've been saying this entire time. I'm glad to see people agreeing with me. They are not feminists.
And how they're living a life so much better than their mothers were, or so much better than the other Mormon people who follow the rules to a T. They're living a progressive version of Mormonism, which is making them so much brighter and so much more enlightened. And what I see are, I don't know how many there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 women who are going downhill really fast. And take this from someone who's lived the life that they were living before they got into mom talk, okay? I was young. My children are all between 2 years and 18 months apart. I have 6 children. I had my 6th child by the time I was 32, okay?
Wow.
My version of being a little bit progressive was wearing leopard stockings. Okay. That's as far as it went for me. I never thought of breaking any of the real commandments, right? However, I had enough self-worth and I had enough critical thinking skills to know that if I was on vacation with my husband and I wanted to wear a sundress without my garments, that the ceiling was not going to fall. The sky was not going to fall out of my life, and God was not going to, push me away, and I was not going to hell. I knew that, okay? Right. I knew the purpose of a lot of the ritualistic covenants that Mormon people make. I knew their purpose. I also knew where there was letter of the law and spirit of the law and control. And so I definitely could see past that without any guilt whatsoever. And I could lie to my bishop when I went in for a temple recommend. Let me tell you what it was.
Right.
So when you go in for a temple recommend, one of the questions that they used to ask, I don't know what they ask now, but one of the questions that they used to ask is, do you wear your garments day and night?
Yep.
And I would say yes. And my husband asked me one time, what do you say to the bishop when he says that? And I say yes, because I knew that not wearing my garments at night underneath my pajamas was not a sin, that I had absolutely no chances of sinning while I was fast asleep in bed with my husband. I also knew that I had teenage boys in the house. And I knew that I had a disabled child that woke up about every 2 hours. And I would have to get up and turn him over or adjust him somehow. And I was not going to do that in my garments. So I chose to not wear the garments, but I chose to wear a modest pajama so that I could get up in the middle of the night, take care of my children without exposing myself to my teenage boys. I felt really good about that decision. I didn't need anyone to tell me that was right or wrong. I didn't need to go and confess this to a bishop. So that's what I'm saying when I talk about critical thinking skills. But what I see in these young women, and the problem is I also see this in people who are leaving the church. There is this mentality that once you have left the rules and the authorities that are over you, that now your life is up to you and you can do whatever you want to, without looking at the world in general, even this secular world. They're not looking at where alcohol takes families. They're not looking at what sex addiction is doing to families. They're not looking at marriages that are being broken up by cheating sexually with on your husband or your wife. They're not looking at that. They're just thinking, damn it, nobody's going to tell me what to do. I didn't get to live my teenage lives. And so now I'm going to have sex in a hot tub with whoever I see on the street. And I'm going to drink myself into oblivion because nobody can tell me that I can't. And that is such an immature mentality, because there are so many people in the world who are not Mormon, who are not even Christian nationalists. They might even be just a completely secular person who knows that alcohol is dangerous and that alcohol breaks up a lot of marriages. It destroys a lot of families. It has nothing to do with a doctrine that was, secretly given by this one man in Missouri. They also know that cheating on your husband or wife also breaks up a lot of marriages, destroys children's lives. So why is this something that you go to first? Why is this the first thing you do once you leave a fundamental religion and you think you no longer have rules? Because biology has rules. Gravity and nature has rules. If you get too close to the edge of the cliff and you fall off, there's a really good chance that you will die. Even if you say all the way down as you're falling, I'm not dying. I can fall off a cliff even if nobody can tell me I can't fall off a cliff. Okay, there are rules to living on this earth as a human being. So I'm seeing these girls, the only thing that they're doing to better their lives, they think, is going on TikTok, having sex parties in the hot tub, and drinking themselves into oblivion. I don't hear one of these girls say to their husbands, look, I'm making a lot of money on TikTok now. I am the sole provider. I'm going back to college. I'm going to get my master's degree, and I'm going to pursue something that I've always wanted to do as a human.
That is a fantastic point, Renee, among many.
I no longer am going to believe that my sole purpose is procreation. I'm going to find out who I am, and I'm going to pursue that. They're not bettering themselves in any way.
Amen, Renee. Amen.
And that's the most disturbing part of this whole Secret Lives of Mormon Wives thing. They're not bettering themselves by doing what they're doing. And if this is some kind of an example for progressive Mormonism, that is very, very sad. So that is my crone wisdom. Someone who has lived through 50 years of marriage. I've raised 6 kids. I've had a child that dies. I've had a son-in-law that dies. I have children with disability, grandchildren with disabilities. My children are fabulous people, and I could not have asked for a better job when I did it. But I would have done things differently if I would have not been so strategically indoctrinated to believe that I only had one purpose in life. So I really wish the best for these girls, but I hope they can get help and that they can start looking at their lives in a different fashion and not just in how many partners can I have sexually and how drunk can I get in a hot tub.
Absolutely brilliant take here from the heart, Renee. Well done. I wasn't going to show this, but I do have an extra clip here that I put together here, where actually I haven't showed this to anybody. I wasn't planning on showing this here, but Renee actually I put this together on Renee's behalf here, where she kind of mocks these Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Obviously, we can see that she was very heartfelt in her criticism of the show, but there is the ability here to kind of poke fun at the show because it is so superficial here, and she's going to call it the Secret Lives of an Ex-Mo Wives. I put this together for Renee. You guys let me know what you think about it. In on Renee there at the end. Excellent take there, Renee. I'm in solidarity with you with virtually everything that she said there. Yes, a solid take here. Very, very well done. Let's get a couple of quote unquote faithful reactions to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, including one of the biggest faithful accounts out there. This is called Elder TikTok on TikTok here. Let's see what he has to say about it. I've had a couple of interactions with him. I've had interactions with virtually everyone. Let's see what he says about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I asked ChatGPT, will not believe what I just did. I asked ChatGPT to compare real people from the Book of Mormon to the wives of season 2. This will only be funny if you're actually Mormon. Taylor got Alma the Younger.
What?
Alma the Younger was once a rebellious figure who underwent a profound spiritual awakening. I'm deceased. Me got Amalickiah. I didn't even know he was in the Book of Mormon. Known for his persuasive tactics, Stacy is Nephi. This is probably the most accurate one.
What?
If you know, you know. Not Jesse getting Abish. A pivotal role in his spiritual awakening. Is that T? Layla with Samuel the Lamanite.
What?
Michaela with Alma the Elder is crazy. Randall pulled Z's room? Have I read a different Book of Mormon? Oh, Jen pulled Soraya. That's actually sweet. And before I reveal Whitney, please let me know in the comments if this is accurate. Our sweet Whitney pulled Korihor. If you don't know what this is, you gotta read the book. Was this comparison between Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Book of Mormon people accurate or not? Let me know in the comments.
I do like the fact that Whitney got the Korihor. That seems spot on. The rest of them kind of suspect. Actually, not that bad, but Whitney with the Korihor. I am sustaining you, Elder TikTok. That video has 50,000 views on it. He He has a big account there. A couple more reactions here. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives from the brightest star in ex-Mormonism, Alyssa Grenfell, the juggernaut in the room. If you're not following her on YouTube, you're certainly missing out here. She's talking about how in the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she's going to react to a clip here, one of the most toxic clips in the show here, learning to hate women in generational cycles of abuse. Oh, I don't have that particular clip queued up, but I do have another one here. She is talking about the interaction with Taylor that she had with her stepdad and her mother. Very disturbing scene here where patriarchy infantilizes women and stunts their cognitive and social development. Very disturbing. Sorry, I don't have that clip right away, but here it is again here where we're going to see her parents, Taylor, Frankie, Paul. Her parents are going to slut shame her. Absolutely reprehensible behavior.
Freaking honest. Shit. He just told me that you guys had seen each other 3 times. I don't know Taylor before all this. And then you're sitting there telling me that he came over and had sex with you? What does that say about you?
Jeez.
I'm not.
Jeez, man. Somebody needs to talk some sense into that guy. Now, that guy, wow. Here's Taylor's stepdad. What a piece of trash.
I'm not pointing fingers.
I'm not pointing fingers. Dude, you're literally pointing fingers at her and slut shaming her. It's incomprehensible to see him take Dakota's side versus his stepdaughter's side. The Mormon hypocrisy of not being willing to say a swear word because that's so bad, but then being truly horrendously awful and not supporting your stepdaughter and being okay with that, but not being okay with the swear word is exactly my experience in this church, which is that morality is not morality. What's being good is not good. We won't swear, we won't drink coffee, we won't get piercings, but we'll be so awful to the women in our lives that you can't tell me you're good after that. If that's your moral calculus, if that's how your compass is operating, I just refuse to believe that this religion is actually generating good and thoughtful and kind people into the world.
That's the thing I'm going to be.
Absolutely reprehensible conduct by Taylor's stepdad here. This scene, this is from one of the comments, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. This scene made my blood boil. This is the worst scene out of many in the entire show. I felt so bad for Taylor, feeling like everyone is against you, even your own family, constantly being lied to, gaslit, blamed by everyone in her life. Every crash out Taylor has had is 100% justified. You know, this is the problem. When you get raised in these high demand religions by toxic parents like that, who are going to slut shame you all the time, yeah, it's going to lead to a lot of problems later on in your life. And let's be honest about things. Taylor Frankie Paul has a lot of problems. And I certainly, like Renee said, hope that the people in the show who have gone through therapy with Natasha Helfer, famous ex-Mormon therapist, I hope that they seek the healing and further light knowledge that comes from leaving high demand religions behind. I think that that's good. Couple last takes from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives here from a faithful perspective here. This is the Sunday School Dropouts podcast. Let's see what they have to say about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. What are your thoughts? Let's see what they have to say.
A big reality TV show person. I just got done watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is so fun for so many reasons. It is just a total train wreck, but it is so interesting to see like Mormonism just generally getting a little bit more spotlight. It kind of both like the good and bad, because it's these group of women who are in their 20s and early 30s who are not really trying to rebrand Mormonism, but they say they're trying to like smash the patriarchy a little bit, but they're still doing it within the confines of Mormonism. And
when did they say they're trying to smash the patriarchy? I must have missed that. I have not heard them say anything like that.
And like their LDS faith. When I was growing up, we were taught that Mormonism was a cult. And then I went to the show, The Book of Mormon, on Broadway, and I was like, oh, wow, we were taught pretty much all the same things as Mormonism. So if they were a cult, then what does that make us? I am a big reality TV show.
That's a good point here. It's just crazy. Sorry, I don't have much of a take to give on that one. Now, the final take that I have for you here is one of ex-Mormonism's brightest stars, Colch, codified ex-Mormon humor, has hung up his golden microphone. What happened to Colch anyway? Generally unquotable. Megan is going to fill us in on the details of Colch and his disappearance from the podcasting sphere.
Today we're going to start off by talking about Kolch, formerly known as Cultural Hall, an ex-Mormon creator who recently took down all of his content. He made the most amazingly insightful, funny, and sometimes pointed parody videos about the church and pro-Mormon content creators. If you have never seen him or his content, and now you are sad that you missed it, you can still find him in a few other post-Mormon podcast interviews, including one on Mormonish that I will link to in the show notes. I first found out about his leaving the post-Mormon space on Thursday the 22nd when I saw this message from his Patreon that said, "Adieu, May 22nd, 2025. I've made the difficult decision to stop making content. I have taken down my YouTube and social media accounts. This space has been incredibly helpful in healing. It's an incredible community that I am grateful for. Thank you all so much for supporting me. It's been great meeting and interacting with you here on Patreon. I appreciate you all. I wish you all the best. Kolch." I have since seen this video from Radio Free Mormon that gives a few more details.
As many of you may have heard, Cultural Hall, also known as Kolch, the post-Mormon podcaster of immense talent, has just taken down all of his podcasts and announced his departure from the podcasting scene. I know a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes, and I have been authorized by Kolch to share the following. First off, this is caused by online Mormons. Yes, Mormons. Mormons don't like it when you tell the truth about their religion. These are the kind of things that they will do to stop you from telling the truth about their religion. Online Mormons have threatened and harassed not only Cultural Hall himself, but also his family and his family business. And this is why he has taken down his podcast. This is what Mormons do when you tell the truth about their religion.
And then this Reddit post that says roughly the same thing. Where in the world is Cultural Hall? A few of you have noticed that sometimes contributor to this subreddit and ex-Mormon parody Marvel, Cultural Hall, has removed his YouTube channel. A few people have reached out to me directly to find out what happened because Kolch and I had a live stream scheduled last night to continue breaking down the Midnight Mormons / Word Radio debate with Radio Free Mormon. I figured it would be easier to provide this information once here for anyone interested, rather than answer a ton of individual questions or allow people to speculate on what happened. Here's what Kolch was comfortable with me reporting on why his channel won't be returning. Quote, "Online Mormon folks went over the line messing with my family and professional life." Close quote. Speaking to who is responsible would be nothing more than speculation. This is just my personal reminder that there are real people, real families, and real lives behind these YouTube channels and podcasts. Please allow this to guide your online behaviors and actions. This rando, at least, will sincerely miss Kolch's unique blend of humor, irreverence, and compassion. And I want to add my voice to those and say that I respect Kolch and his reasons for leaving, and I will miss him and his content. If I had to guess who was behind his alleged harassment, because I am not opposed to doing that, I would guess it was folks from Ward Radio or Thoughtful Faith. If you don't know those pro-Mormon content creators, don't look them up. Their content makes me sick. I think it might be time to remind those people what Russell Nelson said in the last General Conference. True charity towards all men is the hallmark of peacemakers. It is imperative that we have charity in our discourse, both public and private. I thank those of you who took my previous counsel to heart, but we can still do better. The present hostility in public dialogue and on social media is alarming. Hateful words are deadly weapons. Contention prevents the Holy Ghost from being our constant companion. As followers of Jesus Christ, we should lead the way as peacemakers. To all of you who claim to be faithful members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and sustain Russell Nelson as your prophet, those words are for you.
Well, that is too bad. So a couple of items here. First of all, when Michelle Stone took down her podcast because of supposedly threats from excommunication from her stake president, she didn't take anything down. They're still unlisted. And last time I checked, you can still watch all of them because I think that she doesn't know the difference between an unlisted video and a deleted video. So that's an interesting thought. Number two, Kolch's particular YouTube channel. If you go in and go to all of his old URLs, the videos are not deleted. I say that again. The videos are not deleted. They're only privatized. So that makes me think that there could be hope that he would want to bring them back. If he was serious about permanently leaving the space, I don't understand why he wouldn't just delete the videos, but they are merely privated. A couple of other takes here about people opining about codified ex-Mormon humor, Let's start with Beth, Magnetic
So,
Beth.
with Radio Free Mormon coming out and saying what they did about how tragic and sad it is that the Ward Radio Mormons came after Colch and they harassed Colch and Colch's family to the point that Colch took everything down. You need the context of what led to that. See, Colch did a interview with Joe Rollins and someone else. I don't remember who the other person was in the video.
Mackenzie Vance.
Was gone, so I can't go look, but
It was Mackenzie Vance, who I've had on the Mormon News Roundup, by the way.
they were breaking down. Ward Radio did 2 episodes on Jenny Gage of Life Take 2. So in those 2 episodes that they did, they were brutal. They were calling her a liar. Guys, I have personally seen a lot more of the evidence than I think most of you have. Jenny's not making this stuff up. This stuff is so crazy, and yeah, I've seen evidence of it. So anyway, they do these 2 episodes that are absolutely positively brutal. They are mean. They are vicious. There are people in the comments saying the most horrific things about Jenny. And so Colch decided to do an episode sticking up for his friend, right? As he should. So what ended up happening, Colch does this episode, and then some of the followers from Ward Radio came and were harassing Colch across all his platforms, found his family business, made threats against his wife.
Yikes.
As far as I understand it, that's what happened. And
That's unacceptable.
that's the point at which Colch took everything down to protect his family. But that's not even like the worst part. Just a few days before they came after Jenny on YouTube, Jenny had actually privatized her entire 386,000 follower account here on TikTok. She had also announced to her YouTube audience, guys, I'm done. I'm not going to be talking about Mormon content. So these people who like to complain about how Mormons can't get past it, about how ex-Mormons can't get past the church, about how ex-Mormons just keep talking about the church all the time, just move on, get over it. Yeah, well, Jenny had announced that she was going to like stop doing Mormon content, and they still came after her.
Yep.
Now, on Jenny's post video that she did, you see her goodbye YouTube video.
Yep.
She actually went and she deleted all of the scripts that she had. Jenny was done. And on that video of her leaving YouTube, Charlotte Barnes of Ward Radio left this comment where she said, "Life Take 3 begins. I wish you the best as you move forward in the future and leave your past behind." So Charlotte leaves this. And then Jenny replies with, "Yes, I've been living my Mormon life out on camera for 6 years and have never been able to heal and move on.
Yeah.
It caught up with me this week. I had a panic attack on air with another podcaster after a long day of filming and edit. Having read the journal entry from the day I met my monster ex-husband for a video, I pushed myself into a mental health crisis for my channel, and it was a profound wake up." Okay, notice Jenny just told Charlotte Barnes of Ward Radio, "I pushed myself into a mental health crisis." And let's be clear, when somebody's in a mental health crisis, we have a huge risk. We also have an additional risk because not only is Jenny Gage a unaliving survivor, she actually had done everything to successfully unalive herself, and then a neighbor noticed what was happening and called the police. She would have successfully done it. And she's talking about being in a mental health crisis to Charlotte Barnes of Ward Radio. She goes on, "I'm stuck in Life Take 2. What even does the next act look like? I've outgrown all of this and can't stay stuck for the camera anymore. It's been the best week in years since shutting everything down. Amazing. Like, not easy. It's been a bumpy road." She had anaphylaxis. She and I actually have the same illness. We have mast cell activation syndrome, where we're allergic to everything on the planet. She is more allergic to more things than even I am. And I have tested positive for literally everything they've ever tested me for. So she was having anaphylaxis. She's having home and family crisis issues, but it's better because she's stepping away from doing Mormon content. Amazing, like, not easy. It's been a bumpy road this week for many reasons, but happy. I'm smiling all the time. So she's talking about how getting away from doing ex-Mormon and Mormon content has made her life better.
and then Ward Radio goes after her. And then Colt does the conversation with Joe, and I'm so sorry, I wish I could remember who the other person was.
Mackenzie Vance.
But he does the conversation with them, and then Ward Radio and all of their horrible, horrible followers. I have been sexually harassed on their platform, and then they told me that I was lying about it. Even though I have screenshots of the 9 different comments about my chest from the man, Ward Radio told me I was lying about it, and they implied very, very openly that I deserved it. So their followers are the worst people on the planet. They are Christian nationalists. This is a Christian nationalist movement inside of Mormonism. That is who Ward Radio is. They
Exactly. That's exactly right. Beth knows her stuff.
are violent. They are
Yep.
hostile.
Yes.
They want to hurt people.
Yeah.
And they are proud of it.
Yeah.
And that's what Radio Free Mormon's not talking about. They're not giving you the context because, well, let's be honest, they don't give a about women.
Whoa! Throwing down to Radio Free Mormon at the end. This is getting rather chippy out there, ladies and gentlemen. That gives you a pretty decent backstory of what happened to one of ex-Mormon's most beloved podcasters, Kulch. I do have 2 additional reactions. I'm going to give it to you. We're going over a little over an hour. Let's hear from Jenny Gage herself, live take 2. I've had a couple of chances to have interactions with her as well. Let's see what she says about this whole thing.
I don't know what you guys are going to think about this. I have no idea. But I've already made the decision, and I'm just announcing what I'm going to do with my TikTok channel here. And you guys, it has been the worst bloody month of my life, with the slander and defamation from Ward Radio. And I caught the flu, and then my autoimmune kicked in. So I was allergic to like just my immune system being activated. So I had all this mast cell and whatever. And I was in anaphylactic shock for about 2 weeks. And that was terrifying. I was home alone one day. Brody was at school. Kevin was at work, passed out. My airway had constricted. And I have about 4 hours that I don't know what happened. That when I finally woke up, I was covered in hives. My airway was completely swollen. I had vomited all over myself, and it was terrifying. So thank God for liquid Benadryl and EpiPens and all the things. Anyway, it's been a rough few weeks, but this rough few weeks has given me time to really look at my life and what my social medias are doing for me, and really like, this is not doing anything for me to talk about the Mormon Church and get bullied and harassed by an organization that is becoming more and more radicalized, and also more and more rich, and more me. And honestly, I don't feel like my voice is necessary anymore. I helped pioneer ex-Mormon TikTok. I've put my story out there. I have done everything that I think that I can possibly do. I don't feel like I even have any, well, there's some stories that I haven't told yet, but there's not much new that I could even do. And like at this point, everybody realizes that the Mormon Church is whack. You don't need me to tell you. So as of right now, today, I am going to unprivatize my TikTok, put it back out there.
Okay.
And I am transitioning 100% full-time to 50 plus content. Because I am 50 plus. I'm about to turn 51 here in a couple months because I'm a grandma. I'm also a certified nutritionist, and I have all kinds of different certifications and expertise under my belt. I was, after all, a Mormon mommy, natural living, homesteading influencer for many years. And I know that there's probably part of my audience here that isn't going to want to stick around and listen to advice from a 50-year-old grandma. But I think that all of you should, because you want to age well. You want to extend your health span as well as your lifespan.
Yeah.
You want good sex, good relationships, good skin, all the stuff.
Sure.
And a happy life. Now, obviously, I am a woman, so I'm going to be kind of female centric. But you guys, like, you have skin, you eat. I feel like you boys are going to want to be here too, but I am definitely a woke, raging feminist, and I will still be very feminist probably in some of my viewpoints. It's who I am. And
She's definitely a woke, raging feminist. I can attest to that from my interactions with Live Take 2.
Work to build my grandma content over here. I will also be privatizing and just relocating a lot of my ex-Mormon, ex-trap life stuff so that there's more cohesion here on my page. I will still be on Instagram talking about ex-Mormon stuff, talking about just plain feminist stuff. extra wife stuff. So if you do enjoy me for that, then head over there. And I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my YouTube and podcast and other things. No idea, but that's what we're doing with TikTok. So for all you other golden girls, drop your comments. I'll be organizing some lives here when I get back from a little family vacation this week. Vacation/rehabilitation/ like mental health break. So join me in a week for some targeted lives. I already have guests lined up for the entire month of June.
Well, I wish you the very best, Jenny, in Life Take 2/Life Take 3. Yes, I can tell you for a fact that she is a woke, raging feminist. Her interactions with me have, let's just say, been somewhat prickly. I'm not going to get into those at this time, but both her and Culch leaving this, basically leaving this space at the same time. Folks, it is really, really rough out here. I mean, I can tell you that from personal experience. It is a rough thing to be in the Mormon/ex-Mormon space, any religious deconstruction space in general. It is really, really rough out here. And I find it interesting here that she is also going to take issue with Radio Free Mormon, by the way. And Life Take 2 is going to react to what we already showed to you earlier with Cultural Hall shutting down his podcast. Well, Beth Magnetic of Death by Patriarchy took issue with RFM. And guess what? Jenny did too. She says, out of curiosity, I have a much larger following than Culch, and being brutally harassed, I am in terror and stopped my massive platforms. And Culch was podcasting about me, but not a mention or concern from anyone, including you. Seems to be a double standard here, because both of these folks kind of left this community or left the ex-Mormon podcasting, if you will, at the same time. And certain people only want to talk about one of them, and that's Culch, and not the other. Some folks view that as hypocritical, and that's certainly, I can certainly see the resonance there. My favorite moment, just real quick here, before I let you all go, with Culch here, is the fact that he launched his show off of my platform on YouTube. This was almost 1 year ago. I think it was 1 year ago last month, where Culch hijacks the Mormon News Roundup. He launches his world premiere episode on the Mormon News Roundup. I'm going to take you back through a walk-through memory lane of my favorite moment with Culch, which is from the introduction to this particular show, where he hijacked the Mormon News Roundup. And by the way, the Mormon News Roundup is not affiliated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just so you know.
I can't believe I hacked the Mormon News Roundup. Rivas is so gullible for giving me his password. This is going to be so much fun. Now is the great day of my power. I reign from the rivers to the ends of the earth. There is none who dares to molest or make afraid.
Culch! Culch, is that you?
Oh, somebody's in the green room. I wonder who that might be. Let me see if I can put him on screen.
Culch, what are you doing, man? How'd you get on here?
Oh, hey, Divas. What's going on, man? How are you?
It's always great to have you on, Culch, but I'm trying to run the Mormon News Roundup podcast. How'd you hack my stream anyways? Yeah.
That's sacred, not secret.
Okay.
The God of this world knows a lot.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that someplace before. And I really appreciate you stopping by, but you know, this isn't your week to co-host, Culch. I've got a lot of news articles to get through, so I kind of need to get started.
Are you kicking me off?
Well, I mean, you can hang out if you want. Sure, why not?
Awesome. Well, you know what? I actually have some big news. I'm going to be starting my own show. It's like the Mormon News Roundup, but it's better in almost every conceivable way possible.
What the fuck? Ah! Oh, you've looked over my kingdom and my greatness and glory. Yeah. And now you want to take possession of the whole of it. I have a word to say concerning these people. If they do not walk up to every comment they make at their computer watching this podcast this day, they will be in my...
Dude, you're stealing my lines.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Hey, can you tell me about the show?
Sure, man. So each episode is going to be a specific topic. It may be about a person in the church. It may be about a gospel topic. And I'm going to basically take all the material that I've done on that topic, and I'm going to mix it in, and it's going to be chaotic, and I'm going to have cool transitions, and I'm going to have cool Culch humor in it, and parody songs, and it's just going to kind of be a mishmash of all the things that I currently do, but a little bit more long form.
That sounds awesome, man. Now, when is it going to be ready?
Actually, it's ready right now if you want to see it.
Of course. Let's see what you got.
Aren't you supposed to hit play?
You hacked the stream, Culch. You're going to have to do it yourself.
You're right. Okay, I'll go ahead and hit play.
Think to less show. Think to less show. Better off in this hellhole. Think to less show.
Fortunately, we're not going to be able to play any more of that particular episode, but that is an ode to Culch out there. Codified Ex-Mormon podcaster. Wish you the best on whatever it is that you're going to be doing with yourself. I want to thank the Patreon subscribers out there. Scab, Bob, RMW, David, Blaine, Brent, and especially Sophronia. Big shout out to you. And to our YouTube membership subscribers. Appreciate that too. Emmerich, Starla, Jeffrey, Garrick, and Lee. Can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Thanks so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Mormon News Roundup in the books. I am the Diddly Whack Mac Mormon Daddy. I am the king of the Sons of Provo, and I am talent on loan from Kolob. I'm coming to you live from Washington, D.C., from the crossroads of the East, where the truth runs free. Before you go, if you could hit the like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. And remember that no unhallowed hand can stop the Mormon News Roundup from progressing.
Huge thanks for watching Mormon News Roundup. Truly one of the best, maybe the best. My good friend Dee Vase, fantastic guy, doing incredible work. Remember, no unhallowed hand can stop the Mormon News Roundup from progressing. Like, subscribe. Everyone's saying it's a must watch.